Hi guys, welcome back. In this video, I'll be explaining how you can simplify sorts. So maybe how you can express sort in its simplest form and how you can write it from the simplest form to a single sort. Don't forget in the last video, I took you through some of the rules of sort. So if you don't forget, I said, so the most important thing you have to notice that number one is when you have root A multiplied by root B, then it is same thing as what? Root AB. Likewise, when you have root A multiplied by root A, that is A. Root A divided by root B, then is also the same thing as root A divided by B. You understand now? And like I said, you cannot add your root A plus or minus root B is not the same thing as what? Root A plus or minus B. You understand now? So that is when you have root A plus B, it is not the same thing as what? Root A plus B. And when you have root A minus B, root A minus root B is also not the same thing as root A minus B, but rather you can add their coefficient. Maybe when you have S root A plus y root A, you can see now they are having the same sort and different coefficient. So in this case, you can add their coefficient together and just put the sort. So, but in this video, I'm going to explain how you are going to what? How you are going to express sort in their simplest form. How you are going to express them in their simplest form. So to express sort in their the simplest form is not difficult as well. So that means to express the number inside the radical as a product of two factors. So where one of them is what? Is a perfect square. What we are trying to say next is that if you have square root of 18, for example, you know we have 18 inside the radical here. So if I want to rewrite this number in a short form, so in its simplest form, then I will have to think the two factors of 18 such that one of these factors is what? Is a perfect square. So, for example, now I can say it is what? Root 9 times 2 because 9 is a perfect square. Then you can now split it afterward and what? So, and simplify it, to have a simplest form. So, you know, from the first law, when you have root 9 times root 2, you can actually split them one by one. That's the same thing as root 9 multiplied by root 2. And what is root 9? 3 multiplied by root 2. That is what? 3 root 2. That's what you are expected to be doing here. Let me give you my example. Express the following in their simplest forms. So number one, I have root 24. Number two, I have square root of 72. I have square root of 200. And lastly, I have square root of a key b. Solution. So this is not difficult to do. Remember I said if you want to express a sort in its simplest form, what you have to do is to express the number inside the what? The radical as the product of its two factors such that one of the factors is what? Is a perfect square. Okay, look up when you have root 24. The factors of 24 are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. You don't need to write it one by one once you know, the pairs of what of factor you are taking. So for this case, what are the two factors of 24? So such that one of them is what? Is a perfect square. You will see it is 4 times 6 because 4 times 6 will give you 24 and indeed 4 is what? Is a perfect square. Then you are going to have root 4 multiplied by root 6. So the knowledge behind using a perfect square is that we can actually find the square root of a perfect square. So if you didn't use the product of two the product of two factors such that one of them is a perfect square, then you might not be able to split it further. You understand now? So, and if you apply your rule, then it's same thing as root 4 multiplied by root 6. And don't forget your root 4 will be 2 multiplied by root 6, which is same thing as 2 root 6. Don't say root 12 because this is a surd and this is a whole number. So it will be 2 root 6. You understand? Another example is you have root 72. Okay, can you express 72 as a product of what? Of its two factors such that one of them is prime number. Can you think about it? So let me quickly give you an hint. I think you can use 36 times 2, or you can even use 9 times 8, because 36 times 2 will give you 72. Even 9 times 8 will also give you 72. So immediately you are able to establish the two factor such that one of them is a perfect square. Then I'm going to split them one by one using the law. That will give you root 36 multiplied by root 2. And root 36 will give you 6 multiplied by root 2. That will give you 6 root 2. Another way, I said you can write it as also root 9 times 8. You are going to arrive at the same answer. Okay, let us split it again. That will give me root 9 multiplied by root 8. And you can as well split this 8 again. Unlike 2 whereby you cannot, there's no such a factor where one of the factor is a perfect square again. Likewise for 6. So you understand that. So this one will give you sorry, so that is 3 multiplied by, then you can as well split this 4 times 2 into its simplest form. Then that will give you 3 times root 4 multiplied by root 2. So that is 3 times. What is root 4? 2 times root 2. So if you multiply 3 times 2, you collect the like time whole with whole and radical with radical. 3 times 2 will give me 6 multiplied by root 2. Can you see it is very simple? So another example is when you have root 200. So root 200, that is not difficult to do. I can say this is what? 2 multiplied by 100. Recall that you have to what? So you have to find two factors of 200 such that one of them is what? Is a perfect square. And even if you don't want to take 2 multiplied by 200, you can take 50 times 4, because 4 is also a perfect square. You understand that? So, yeah. So that's that. Okay, now if you split this, then I'm going to have what? Root 2, or you can even use 25 times 8. Yeah, 25 times 8. So that's root 2 multiplied by, but this one is simpler, multiplied by root 100. So that's root 2 multiplied by root 100 is 10, right? So that will give me 10 root 2. You understand? And lastly, we have something of this nature, root AKB. This is not a number. You have it in what? In an alphabet. In general, when you have something of this nature, how are you going to do that? So you use the same way. This a raised by 3, you can split it into 2 such that one of the factors is also a perfect square. Yeah. I can say root a square multiplied by a. That is a cube, right? So, and you can find the square root of a square. Indeed, square root of a square is a. So that is possible. Then if you split them one by one, this one will give me root a squared multiplied by root AB. And what is root a square? Your square will cancel square root. And even if you don't want to use that, you want to use the rule I gave the other time. So this will give you a. So then you have a multiplied by root AB, the same thing as a root AB. So that's how you are going to be expressing number in the simplest form. So if that is clear, how do you now take this number back? We've expressed them in their simplest form, but how do you take them back into a single root? So example, so express each of the following, express each of the following as a square root of a single number. as the square root of a single number. That is, you have to express it as what? As a single surd. So number one, let me just use this example so that you know we are going to get the same result. So for example, when we add root 24, we got what? 2 root 6. Let me put it here. 2 root 6. Don't forget we have to get 24. Then the second one, 10 root 2. When we use 10 root 2, we had what? 200. And lastly, because of the time, a root ab. Yeah. So how do you do this? It is not difficult to do. So look up. What we are interested in having what? We are interested in having a single surd. You understand now? For example, now when you have 2 root 6, so what you can do is to make this guy a surd as well, so that you can multiply this and this together. You understand? And how do you take this to a surd? It's just like when you have a number, a whole number, you can take an whole number to a fraction. This is same thing as 2 over 1. You understand now? So same thing as 2 divided by 1. So so you will notice that when you want to write 2, 2 is an whole number. So if you want to write it as a fraction, it will be the same thing as 2 over 1. You understand now? So likewise, you want to change this guy to radical, you can use the second rule. Root a multiplied by root a will give me a. So it means when you want to write 2 in form of radical, just say square root of 2, then you put square here. So because square will also cancel square root. Or if you don't want to stress yourself, 2 square is 4. So and square root of 4 will give me 2 back. You understand that? So that's what you are going to do. So then you have square root of 2, then you put square on it. When you put square, you put the square root so that it doesn't have any part what on it. So multiply by root 6. And 2 square will give me what? 4 multiplied by root 6. So and 4 times 6, that will give me root 24. So you see we arrive at the same result. And the second one, we have 10 multiplied by root 2. What are you going to do? The whole number, you are going to express it in what? In the radical form as well. So and that will give me what? Root 10 everything squared. So it doesn't make any difference because root 10 squared is root 100, which is same thing as 10. So multiply by root 2, and this will give me root 100 multiplied by root 2 is same thing as what? Root 100 times 2. So that will give you root 200. You understand now? So, and lastly, you have a root AB. Okay, now using the same approach, this will give me a square root of a squared, because square will cancel square root, multiplied by root AB. That will give me root a squared times AB, so which will give me a raised power 3b, because it is very simple. So this is how you are going to convert number to its simplest form, and now you can rewrite it from simplest form to a single sort. So if you understand this, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friend. Till I meet you in the next video. Thank you.